I was walking home from work when I saw him, or I thought I saw him. Just some guy slumped over near the bus stop, sitting on the curb with a cardboard sign and a look on his face like he hadn't slept in a week. Dirty hoodie, sunken cheeks, messy hair, the whole deal. I was about to look away when something in his face made me stop mid-step. I don't know what it was exactly. Maybe the shape of his jaw, maybe the eyes. There was something familiar in them. My brain started doing this glitchy little spin, trying to place him, and then it hit me so hard I actually said holy cow under my breath. Brad. It was Brad, my high school bully. The guy who made my life hell from freshman year all the way to graduation. And I know this is going to sound messed up, but my first feeling wasn't sadness. It wasn't pity. It was more like this sick twist of satisfaction. Like karma had finally done its thing. I mean, after everything he did to me, the constant mocking, the names, the stupid pranks that left me crying in the bathroom, and now here he was, sitting on the sidewalk like a ghost. But then right after that little flash of satisfaction, came something else, something heavier. I don't know if it was guilt or just confusion, but it hit me in the gut. Why was I even feeling this way? He deserved it, right? After what he put me through. But he looked so small. Like just a guy, not the monster I had built up in my head all these years. I kept walking. I didn't say anything, didn't look back. But every step away from him felt weirder. My stomach was tight, like I'd swallowed a rock. I couldn't get his face out of my head. I got home, sat on the couch, tried to watch TV, but my brain kept flashing back to those damn eyes. It wasn't just recognition, it was something else, something unfinished. I hadn't thought about Brad in years, not really. I mean, yeah, the stuff he did stuck with me. I still flinch a little when people call out my name too loud, still double-check my clothes in the mirror way more than necessary. But I'd buried that part of my life deep, or at least I thought I had. Seeing him like that just dug it all up in seconds. What pissed me off the most was how it shook me. I didn't like that he still had that power, that he, of all people, could still get under my skin just by existing. I wanted to be above it, wanted to feel nothing, but instead I was pacing my living room like some unhinged version of myself, debating whether I should have said something, done something. So I did the thing you're not supposed to do. I went back. Not right away. It took me hours of wrestling with myself, playing out a dozen fake conversations in my head. But around 9 p.m., when the air was cool and the street was quieter, I put on my hoodie and walked the same route back to that bus stop. I don't even know what I was hoping for, and he was still there, curled up now, like he was trying to shrink into himself. His sign was propped against the wall behind him. I couldn't make myself approach. I just stood there for a while across the street, watching him, wondering what the hell happened to him, how the golden boy of our high school ended up like this, and wondering why I cared. Brad wasn't just some popular kid, he was the popular kid. Star athlete, cocky as hell, always surrounded by a crowd that laughed at everything he said, especially when he was making someone else the punchline, and I was his favorite punching bag. For years of that leaves a mark. And yet here I was, watching him sleep on concrete. Eventually, I left. I didn't talk to him that night. I told myself it was just curiosity, closure, maybe. But the truth is, I wasn't ready. Not ready to see what was left of him up close. Not ready to face the part of myself that wanted answers, or the part that still felt 13 and powerless and humiliated. I wasn't ready for any of it, but I knew this wasn't over. Not for me. I knew I'd go back again, because something in that 1 second, something in the way he looked, like the world had chewed him up and spit him out, felt like a door cracking open. And behind it, all this old, angry, messy stuff that I hadn't dealt with. And if I was being honest, maybe I wanted to walk through it. Maybe that's messed up. Maybe I'm messed up. But the idea that the guy who made my life hell was now living one of his own, it did something to me. I didn't know if it was justice or if I was just bitter. All I knew was I couldn't stop thinking about it. About him. About what the hell I was supposed to do now that I'd seen him like that. It's like when you think you've healed from a cut, and then you bump it and realize it still stings. That's what seeing Brad was like. A bump to an old wound. Except now the scab's off and I don't know if I want to clean it out or just keep poking it. Either way, I knew I'd be going back. I needed to see what was under the dirt and the shame, because maybe I didn't just want to see him suffer. Maybe I wanted to understand how someone like him ends up like this. Or maybe I wanted him to see me, to realize who I was, what I'd become. Maybe I wanted to watch it dawn on him, to watch his face crack under the weight of recognition. I'm not proud of it, but that's where my head was. So yeah, I saw my high school bully after 20 years. Homeless, and it wrecked me in a way I didn't expect. Now I'm stuck in this weird spiral of anger and empathy, and I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going back. I have to. I don't know what I'll say. I just know this story isn't finished yet. Not for me. So I went back the next day, middle of the afternoon this time, when people were out and about and the sidewalk didn't feel so heavy. Brad was still there, sitting in the same spot like he hadn't moved. He looked worse in the daylight, older than he should have. Like life had dragged him way further than 20 years should have. He was hunched over his sign, eyes down like he wasn't expecting anything from anyone. I almost turned around again, almost chickened out, but something in me snapped. Maybe it was all the fake arguments I'd had with him in my head, or maybe it was just that I was sick of carrying this weight. I walked up and stood right in front of him. He looked up slow. No reaction, just blinked at me like I was nobody. I said, "You don't recognize me, do you?" He shook his head. I felt this tight little knot in my chest, but I kept going. "You used to call me Skidmark in the halls. Remember that?" And there it was. The flicker. Something shifted in his face, like a crack running through stone. For a second, I swear I saw it. Shame, or recognition, or maybe both. But then he shrugged and kind of smirked. Like, "Wow, that was a lifetime ago," he said. "Man, high school was forever ago. You're still stuck on that." Like it was a joke. Like he got to be the one brushing it off. And I felt the heat rise behind my eyes so fast it scared me. Because no, I hadn't thought about it every single day. But yeah, some part of me was still stuck on it. Because it wasn't just a name. It was years. Years of walking into school with a pit in my stomach. Years of being reminded that I didn't belong. And him, he made sure I felt it, loudly, publicly, with a grin on his face every time. There was this one day that always stuck out. My sophomore year, I had this old pair of jeans I wore too often because, well, we couldn't afford more. One day, there was a stain on the back. Nothing major, but of course people noticed. Brad turned it into a campaign. Called me Skidmark in front of the whole cafeteria. Got other people to join in. I couldn't make it stop. My mom cried when I told her because we couldn't do anything about it. Couldn't afford to replace them. So I had to wear those jeans again, and again. Knowing what people were whispering. Knowing he was watching, waiting to say something every time. That was the worst part, the knowing. And he knew I knew. I told him that. Just laid it out there. Raw. He didn't interrupt. He didn't look away. For once, he didn't make a joke. He just sat there, taking it. Then finally he said, "Damn, I didn't know it was that bad." Which made me want to scream, because of course he didn't know. Or maybe he did and didn't care. Back then, he had the power. He was the golden boy. Remember? Everyone's favorite? Teachers gave him leeway. Girls swooned. Coaches adored him. He had this little pack of followers who'd laugh at anything he said, and me. I was the quiet kid. I didn't fight back. I didn't suck up. I was just trying to survive, which apparently made me a target for his entertainment. So hearing him now, sitting on a sidewalk like he'd been spit out by the world, talking like we were just catching up, it messed with my head. I wanted him to feel it, really feel what he did, but all I got was a shrug and a half-hearted "sorry man." I was a dumb kid, like that made it even like an apology that took 20 years to arrive meant anything. He tried to steer the conversation away, like we could just pivot from that to small talk. Asked what I did now, where I lived. I gave short answers, still kind of vibrating from everything that had just come out of me. And the thing is, part of me wanted to keep talking, wanted to ask him how this happened, why he ended up here, but I didn't. Not yet. I just said, that stuck with me. "Brad, you think it was just jokes? But it wasn't. You made school a nightmare." He looked down at his hands for a long time. No comeback, no excuse. Just silence. And for the first time, I felt like maybe he got it. Even if just a little. Even if it was too late. I left after that, told him I had to go. He didn't stop me, just nodded like he knew this was a one-off. But it wasn't. Not for me. Because walking away, I realized something had shifted. I'd always imagined seeing him again as this triumphant moment. Me successful, him humbled. But the reality, it felt way messier than I thought it would. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel like closure. If anything, it stirred everything back up. But I couldn't pretend it didn't matter. That interaction, that crack in his voice, that second where he didn't have the upper hand, it meant something. Maybe not redemption, maybe not even growth. But it opened a door I couldn't close again. And now, I want more. Not revenge. Not really. Just the truth. I want to know why. Why me? Out of everyone he could have picked, why was I the one he zeroed in on? Maybe I'm stupid for needing that answer, but I do. I need to hear it from his mouth. And next time, I won't let him dodge it. I'm going back again. I didn't expect to feel so damn angry. I thought I'd feel smug or vindicated, maybe even superior. But what I actually felt, standing in front of him again a few days later, was rage. Not hot and loud, but slow and deep. Like something that had been rotting for 20 years finally decided to crawl out of me. He looked worse, more tired, maybe hungover. He didn't recognize me again at first, which was just insult on top of injury. I had to remind him again. That was another hit to the gut. Like I hadn't been significant enough to scar him, while he left mine jagged and permanent. I told him, "You don't forget the people you break." I could see something flicker in him. Annoyance. Guilt. Who knows? I didn't give him time to dodge this time. I asked him point blank, "Why me? Why was I the one you picked to humiliate for 4 years straight?" I expected him to deflect, maybe get defensive, but he just laughed. It wasn't joyful. "It was bitter and broken and tired," he said, "because you were the only one who didn't suck up to me." Like it was that simple. Like tormenting me was some weird punishment for not worshiping him. I stared at him, trying to connect that version of Brad with the one from high school. The one who swaggered through the halls like he owned them and left bruises in his wake. He said it like it was some kind of compliment, like I had integrity or something, but it wasn't a compliment. It was just a confirmation that all those years I spent blaming myself weren't just paranoia. He chose me because I didn't give him what he wanted, because I didn't pretend he was a god. I made it easy to hate me. Then he started talking, like really talking. Out of nowhere, the dam just broke. He started telling me about his dad, about how the guy used to beat the cap out of him if he looked at him wrong, how he was drunk more nights than he was sober, how Brad learned early that the best way to avoid being the punching bag was to be the one swinging. He told me he started using pills after high school, said he got hurt during his first year of college football, and they prescribed him something strong. He got hooked, lost his scholarship, lost his place on the team, eventually lost everything. It didn't feel like a confession. It felt like he was unloading a backpack full of bricks, and I just stood there torn. Half of me wanted to punch him in the face and scream, "Do you know what you did to me?" The other half wanted to hug him, or cry, or disappear. It was like every fantasy I ever had about this moment was smashing into reality, and reality didn't know how to make it feel good. It just made it complicated. He looked up at me and said, "You think I don't know I ruined people? I think about it more than you know." Then he leaned back and added, "But you, showing up here, throwing it in my face, that's not about closure. That's about you wanting to feel better by watching me suffer." That hit harder than I wanted it to. Because yeah, maybe he had a point. Maybe part of me did want to see him broken, to see him finally feel small, to watch the scales balance out in some cosmic way. But it also pissed me off that he tried to flip it on me like I was the cruel one. Like showing up with questions made me a monster. That's rich coming from the guy who made me scared to go to school. I didn't say anything right away. I just stared at him, wondering if I'd ever understand where the real Brad ended and the mask began. Was he always this damaged? Or did he become this way after he left? Did he hurt me because he was hurting? Or was that just a convenient excuse now that he had nothing left? I didn't know what to believe, but I did say one thing. I said, "You don't get to decide what this is for me. You don't get to tell me how I'm supposed to feel. You made me hate myself. That doesn't go away because you had a rough life." He nodded. He didn't argue. For once, he didn't try to win. He just looked at the ground and said, "Fair." I don't know what I expected from that visit, an apology that would heal the scars. Maybe I just wanted to see the pain in his eyes match what he put in mine, and maybe that makes me awful. But at least I'm being honest about it. At least I'm not pretending any of this is clean or easy. He said he was trying to get into a shelter. Said he had a cousin who might take him in for a bit. I don't know if any of it's true. I don't know if he even wants help or if he's just saying things to make me go away. I wanted to believe him. I also wanted to yell. It's like I couldn't pick one version of myself to be, because both felt real. I left again. Didn't say I'd be back this time. Didn't promise anything. I just walked away, feeling like someone had shaken up a snow globe inside me, and I couldn't see through the storm. I was so sure I wanted this confrontation, this chance to finally get answers, but now I don't know what I want, or who I'm trying to be in this story. I used to think closure was about getting the last word, about finally hearing "I'm sorry" from the person who hurt you, but now I think it's something messier, something lonelier, something you build alone, in pieces, after the dust settles. I don't know if I'll ever get closure from Brad, but I might be getting closer to understanding myself. It's been a few weeks since I saw him. That spot on the sidewalk where he used to sit is empty now, just concrete and cigarette butts. It's strange how something that consumes so much of my brain can vanish like that. One minute it felt like I was unraveling everything, reliving all the pain he caused. The next minute, life just kept moving, like the universe doesn't care if I got closure or not. Some days I still look for him, not on purpose, but out of habit. I pass by that intersection and my eyes flick toward the corner without thinking. I don't even know what I'd do if he were there again. Would I stop? Would I walk faster? Pretend I didn't see him? The truth is, I'm not sure anymore. I'm still carrying the story, but it's not burning like it was. I've gone over our conversations in my head a dozen times. The way he laughed when I asked why. The way he said I was the only one who didn't suck up to him. The way he turned it around and called me cruel for showing up and confronting him. It messed me up more than I want to admit. Not because he was right, but because he knew exactly how to get under my skin, even now. There's something about seeing someone who used to have power over you completely powerless. It should have felt like justice, like karma doing its job, but it didn't. It felt messy, gross, hollow. I didn't walk away from that sidewalk feeling vindicated. I walked away feeling tired, like I'd dug up a body I wasn't ready to bury yet. People talk about closure like it's this perfect moment, like someone says sorry and you feel healed, but it's not like that. At least, it wasn't for me. There was no bow tied on the end. No neat conclusion, just two people who were both broken in completely different ways, staring at the wreckage of what used to be their lives. Brad said he thought about the things he did, said he knew he'd ruin people, but it felt more like regret for what it cost him than remorse for what he caused. And I guess that's the difference. Regret is about consequences. Remorse is about people. I don't think he ever got past the first part. I wanted to scream at him, Tell him about the nights I cried in the bathroom at school because I couldn't handle one more day of being called skid mark. About how I hated my reflection for years because of the things he said about my body, my clothes, my face. About how even now, I flinch when someone laughs behind me in public because I assume it's at me. But I didn't say any of that. I just listened. And maybe that's what pissed me off the most. That after everything, I still made space for him. I still gave him my time, my attention, my curiosity. Meanwhile, he didn't even remember my name at first. Like I was just another face in the blur of people he stepped on to feel taller. There's something humiliating about realizing your trauma was just a Tuesday to someone else. That the moments that broke you were just background noise in their story. And yet here I am, writing about him, talking about him, trying to make sense of something that might not ever make sense. That's the trap, isn't it? We give them so much power without meaning to. And yet, despite all of that, I can't say I hate him anymore. I don't like him. I don't trust him. I sure as hell don't forgive him. But hate. Hate takes energy. Hate keeps you tethered. And I'm tired of being tied to that version of myself. The scared kid in the hallway who counted the steps between classes like they were landmines. Brad isn't some monster in my head anymore. He's just a guy who made horrible choices and never really dealt with why. And maybe that's worse. Monsters are easier to fight. They're clear-cut. But people are complicated. People disappoint you in ways that never feel complete. People leave gaps that apologies can't fill. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I confronted him years ago. If I had run into him when we were both still young, still pretending to be fine. Would it have ended in a fight? Would he have laughed in my face? Or would he have been different? I don't know, and I never will. The version of him I knew is gone. I told one of my friends the whole story. The bullying, the sidewalk, the confrontation. She asked if I thought I got closure. I didn't know what to say. I told her I think I got something close to it. Not the kind that wraps everything up, but the kind that loosens the grip. The kind that lets you breathe again, even if you're still sore. I still hear his voice sometimes. Not the real one, but the one that lived in my head. The one that told me I wasn't good enough, smart enough, attractive enough. But now, when I hear it, I can see the man who said those things sitting on a street corner, lost in his own failure. And it reminds me that he never had the power he thought he did. He was just louder than the rest of us. Just better at finding cracks and digging into them. But he didn't make me. He didn't define me. I gave him more credit than he earned. And now I'm taking that back. Piece by piece, thought by thought, step by step. I used to think I needed him to acknowledge what he did to move on. But now I think moving on just means deciding not to wait anymore. Not to wait for an apology, or for them to understand, or for the pain to make sense. It means choosing your own peace, even if no one else sees the war. If you're reading this and you've got someone like Brad in your past, I hope you know it's okay to feel everything. The anger, the confusion, the bitterness. But it's also okay to outgrow it, to get tired of carrying it, to let yourself put it down even if it still hurts. That doesn't make you weak. That means you're healing. As for me, I'm still figuring it out. I won't pretend this fixed everything. It didn't, but something in me shifted. I don't wake up dreading my reflection. I don't replay those high school hallways on loop anymore. I've got a life now. A messy, imperfect, real life. And he's not in it. Not really. Just a shadow fading into the background. That might not be the ending I dreamed of, but it's the one I've got. And honestly, it's enough.